Hey y'all, it's Alex here. Okay, so for reference, what I'm about to read to you or say, I wrote the day after I ran my first ultramarathon. An ultramarathon is any distance longer than a marathon, which is 26.2 miles. This is going to be my recap of my experience running my first ultra, and it's been 3 months since I ran this race, but thankfully I wrote down my thoughts when it first happened. Who knows if there will be a second, but for that reason, this was, a big moment in my life. So I wanted to sum it up and just memorialize it for myself and for anyone out there that is thinking about doing this and thinking to themselves, maybe, could I ever do that? Is it possible for me? And just give you a little sneak peek inside what the experience was really like and share with you, some of my struggles and thoughts around the journey. Okay, so on March 16th, I accomplished something I never thought I would, but I'm so proud of myself and all the hard work that I put in to cross the finish line. I ran my first ultramarathon 50K trail race, and I set a new personal record for the longest run I've ever completed at 31.33 miles. Can you imagine running over 30 miles? A lot of us are, people that remember being in gym class and running a mile, and you can't imagine, that was horrible, right? So I was one of those people. I dreaded the mile in gym class, and now here I am running 31 miles. I can't even tell you how this ended up happening, but it's just funny that you never know where life will take you if you just keep on trucking. I'm just so thankful for my adorable race crew, my little babies, and my supportive partner, Ben. He had everything ready for me at the aid station loop for a seamless transition at mile 11 and 21. It's funny because this was kind of a looped course, so roughly 31 divided by 3. Mile 11, 21 were the points where I got to kind of check in, and he saw 2 different points of my journey. So at mile 11, I was just locked in, as he says. I was feeling great. I felt like the 3 minutes that I took to stop and adjust there was an eternity. It felt like it took forever, and I just wanted to keep moving, get everything I needed, of course, while I was there, but I was determined to keep moving, and I was locked in. So then fast forward to mile 21, and I was literally in tears, not wanting to leave the aid station and just struggling to bear the thought of running another 10-mile loop when I wanted nothing more than to be done. And I called Ben around mile 26, mile 27. I just walked for a few minutes and I talked to him, and I tried to get my mind right while giving my legs a little break. I probably told him I wanted to give up and just walk because I knew the cutoff time for this race was 10 hours, and I had plenty of time to just walk the last 4 miles if I needed to. He said, Ben is very straightforward sometimes, so he's funny, and he said to me, I would probably just want to go and get it done sooner so you can just be done. And so he basically kind of encouraged me to not just walk it out. And obviously that's not what I probably wanted to do deep down. I guess that was what I needed to hear to power through. And by the last 2 to 3 miles, I caught a second wind, knowing that I was so close at that point. It's incredible the unexpected ups and downs you experience over such a long journey. Now, if I would have given up on any of those points, my little breakdowns, I can't imagine doing that. As much pain and suffering as you go through sometimes, you just, with anything in life, you just have to keep going. And things change, emotions change, people change, your experience changes. The only constant in life is change. You just have to push through those moments. Now, I'm so thankful that my family was there every lap to cheer me on through all the tears and all the joy. It was an extremely hot and humid day out there. My body got sunburnt right away, and I could tell I needed shoulder protection despite putting on sunscreen before the race. It's always important to wear sunscreen when you're out, obviously, in the sun for a while, running or walking. It's the time kind of flies by and you don't realize how much sun you're getting sometimes. My hydration vest was rubbing me So I was relieved to have come prepared with a little towel to put between my shoulders and the vest, which basically eliminated that discomfort and provided my shoulders with some much needed sun protection. So you never know like what kind of tools you might need. I was so glad that I brought like this little rectangular hand towel that I could just kind of shimmy in there and like give myself some much needed protection and some comfort and like a little barrier from my vest rubbing me. I made a plan ahead of time to walk 1 minute of every mile from the beginning with the goal of saving my legs later and getting over the finish line, because I had never run an ultramarathon before. I'd only run one marathon. I think I just wanted the goal of finishing. I didn't want to get ahead of my skis. Let me run the whole thing and then burn out. So I was feeling great until about the halfway point, and I really started feeling the pain around mile 20. Once I got through mile 27, the farthest I'd ever run up until that point, I actually got a little second wind, and I channeled my inner Tony Robbins, and I just felt into the music, and I picked up my pace a little the last 2 miles. I even got offered a van ride. Like, someone came up to me in a van a few miles away from the finish line and said, like, hey, you look like you're really struggling. You need some help out here. Like, do you need a ride? Which is nice. Like, I don't blame them for being like, hey, do you need a ride? Like, I could have been severely dehydrated and ready to quit. But I just remember thinking, like, I did not come this far just to come this far. I'm going all the way today. It was nice to have that little, like, I had a chance to quit and I didn't do it. I'm proud of myself. As much as my body, it's like laughable. It's laughable thinking that I would have quit at that point. As much as my body would have loved to quit, I had been training months for this moment. The finish line was my reward for all those hours of pain and suffering. Proving to myself that I could do it was surreal. I never really ran in high school. Like I mentioned earlier, I was not one of those like looking forward to the mile run. I didn't do the track team. I wasn't on any of that. I did the bare minimum for the most part. So like I never would have imagined my life leading in this direction, but I'm so happy that it did. I'm 3 years alcohol free, running ultra marathons, just trying to make the most of the short time that we have here on earth. I'm not sure why or how, but running just kind of makes everything better. I started with a fun run after breaking my right ankle around 2017 and having metal plates and screws in my right foot to put it back together. That was honestly an insane break due to erratic behavior caused by my drinking and poor decisions. I couldn't walk or drive or let myself go on living in that manner. It all started with just like a little mile fun run, and I never would have thought that it would lead me to doing this today and like giving you this recap about how I ran over 31 miles. I still can't believe it. When I was out there, I thought about my mom so much and how much I miss her. For those that don't know, my mom died suddenly in September of 2021. She was totally with me out there. So like I thought about my mom out there today and how much I miss her. Her song came on my shuffled playlist around mile 23, and even though I was emotional, and I usually don't like crying when I'm running, I'm usually like out of breath, and if I start crying, that just makes the feeling so much worse. So it's not ideal. It's horrible. It's like you're like, yeah, no. So, but today, like on such a long journey, it was a welcome reprieve to let go of some emotions and focus on something other than the feeling in my legs. I wasn't running very fast because I was trying to pace myself, so the crying didn't really affect my heart rate much, and it kind of just became part of the journey. And if I'm being honest, I guess I didn't really expect to get through my first ultramarathon without shedding a few tears anyways. It's honestly so interesting how many ups and downs you can endure on such a long run. I honestly didn't expect to be able to run more towards the end and overcome that feeling of fatigue that I was feeling earlier. It's, we get caught up in each individual moment sometimes, and so I just didn't think that when you project yourself forward, it's hard to envision sometimes crossing that finish line, and just it feels like the end is never in sight when you're in the thick of it, you know? But one thing is clear: you must know your why, or you will not be able to continue. I know my why is proving to myself that I can do it and that I can get through each successive moment of now. At the same time that I'm striving towards this goal, I'm faced with the harsh realization and paradox that this is all ultimately quite meaningless and will only temporarily fill some sort of void that I'm looking to get filled. Running is something that's like just for me. It's my time to let my mind go from the typical roles that I'm in as a wife and mother, sister, daughter, all these things. It's just kind of my space to be alone and think about what I want or listen to what I want. And I do enjoy that. It's a little mom hack that if you want to get some alone time, start training for a marathon or even a half marathon. Like, it's awesome alone time, honestly. If you have a partner that's supportive or someone that can watch your kids for you and create that little space for a healthy habit, it's a great way to get alone time. So I do want to mention also, when I had that ankle break in 2017, I obviously couldn't walk, and I was in a place where like I was just eating nonstop as like a comfort, a source of comfort. Like a lot of people, you know how it is, like you just eat and think like this is gonna fix my pain, like eating will make me feel better. That was kind of the place I was at, where I didn't really think too much about like the consequences of my actions and like what do I need to do to achieve that goal. I was thinking more like, what is pleasurable in the moment? Like, what do I want right now? And so I was eating whatever I wanted. I was not exercising. I was just kind of learning how to walk again, but I was like over 200 pounds. We literally went on a trip to Disney World, and my mother, bless her heart, my poor mother, had to push me around in a wheelchair because I was so overweight. It was embarrassing. Like, I had to have them buy me a motorized scooter to go around on because I was just so overweight and out of shape, and I could not walk. I couldn't walk through Disney, and obviously I had the excuse of my ankle breaking, but all of that was just like a big crescendo from my poor decision making and drinking alcohol, flooding my body with toxins, not caring about the consequences of my actions. And once I finally like flipped the script on all of that, and I think it probably took, you know, going to that low, dark place of that poor decision making to like come back and be like, okay, let me fix this. Let me write this path. And it's never too late to write your journey, like to get back on the right track. It took 7 years to get to this point in my journey, but I honestly would hate to see what it would have looked like if I hadn't changed at that point. And if I had gone 7 years in the other direction, I would be a completely different person. I can't stress that enough. Like, if I wouldn't have, and part of this is like James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, is crucial. It's a highly recommended book for anyone. It's like, it just basically like every little habit that you have is a vote for the type of person that you want to become. When I quit drinking finally, and that was a huge, huge shift in my life, where I could finally like, I didn't have those days where I was hungover. I didn't have being hungover as an excuse to skip my runs anymore. I was actually like just not constantly putting toxins in my body and expecting to get a positive result. Having that music helped me power through and kind of just like shake up some energy and get that energy that I needed to cross the finish line and know like, I'm a boss, I'm empowered, I got this. So, but the beginning of the run, I love, like I said, I love my alone time on my runs. That's one of the reasons that I really enjoy running, is you just kind of have, it's like you and nature, and you can listen to what you want, you can listen to nothing if you want, and just kind of like let your mind meditate and flow, and you can come up with like really good ideas when you're running and walking, and it's just a nice way to like shake up some energy in your body. I love listening to podcasts, like motivational stuff, and I love audiobooks. For my run, I found these 2 podcasts, and I just was really vibing with like Ken Rideout And he just, like, whatever he was saying totally spoke to my soul, and it was like what I needed to hear to get through these runs. I love the Rich Roll podcast. He's an ultramarathon runner. He's an ultra runner. He's super cool and sober, and he's just like got so much good stuff, so many great guests on all the time. And I love listening to Rich Roll. He's this like super chill, cool guy. Love him. The Rich Roll podcast, Ken Rideout was the guest on this podcast, and the title of the podcast is Ken Rideout's Win or Die Mindset. Controlling the variables, winning his first ultra, and why discomfort is the price of admission to greatness. That really helped me when I was running my first ultra, and obviously I was not out there with the mindset of like, I'm gonna win this ultra. Like, I'm hardcore, but I'm not like that hardcore. Like, I'm gonna do it for the first time and I'm gonna win. I'm not quite there yet, but just finishing it for me is enough. I don't need to win. I'm good. I can come in last place, but as long as I do it and I cross the finish line, I'm happy. I'm golden. So other podcasts I listen to is the Nick Barr podcast. He's awesome too. So like, he has a line, Bare Performance Nutrition, that me and my husband, we are obsessed with. Oh my gosh, just free commercial for him right now. Like, his supplements and products are amazing. Like his strong greens, strong reds, creatine, collagen protein is our obsession. Like, every day we have a scoop of collagen protein mixed with Oikos high protein yogurt, or like some sort of Greek yogurt, and I'll put fruit in mine. My husband just does it plain, but like, that's one of our favorite things. We both eat that every day, and it's like it's like 50 grams of protein, I think, when you do the scoop of collagen protein from BPN with a couple cups of yogurt, high protein yogurt, and like, depending on the yogurt, will switch up your protein content, and has done wonders for even like just my hair and my nails. It might have been after the ultra, just this year, that I started really taking my nutrition more seriously. And Nick Barr has incredible supplements. He is an ultra runner, and you can look at his podcast and social media, and he's like so fit, and he uses all of his own products. So like, we've really enjoyed everything that we've got from there. And like, he has one of his philosophy thing is Go One More. It's kind of like a liquid gel that you can drink that gives you calories and carbs that'll help you fuel during your run. So it's like a liquid, it's a drink that you can use for fueling. And we really love that. I think I used that during my ultra run also, and we both use that on long runs all the time. It's really nice, even when you don't want to just have like a gel, like, or eat something. I've gotten to the point, like, I used to use, side note, Nick Barr is awesome, but that's besides the point here. The Nick Barr podcast was the second podcast that I listened to during my ultra, and that is episode 37, titled The Mindset of a Marathon World Champion, Ken Rideout. Now they say, joining the show today, we have Nashville local and Chicago Marathon age group winner, Ken Rideout. Ken shares valuable lessons from his remarkable transformation story, overcoming a chaotic childhood, working on Wall Street, and a drug addiction that derailed his life. This episode is packed with practical steps to develop mental toughness, overcome defeat, and win. Enjoy. All right, so that was like, I did enjoy it. I did. Thank you, Nick Barr. Like, that was an amazing podcast to listen to. Both of those, I listened to both of those back to back when I started my run. And just, I don't know why, just Ken Rideout's mindset of like dealing with things, it really helps. Like, sometimes you find people that are like, you're on the same vibration as them and you relate to them. And it really helps like you on your own personal journey, like apply that to your own life and be like, okay, I can get through this. So I did want to give them a shout out, because that, like Ken Rideout especially, Rich Roll, Nick Barr, all these ultra runners and people that are really, you know, kind of leaders in the running space and fitness community, sharing their mindset and their motivation really helped me, just by listening to that, get through my own personal challenges and journey in running this ultra. And I don't know if I could have done it without that. It's really important to just have that mental toughness, and honestly, like a good podcast or something can give you just a good distraction. Like you can get to the point where you can run or walk without not much thought to it, you know, like you can kind of zone out, and that having something to zone out and think about that's positive and motivating is like can really just be a game changer and like make or break whether you cross the finish line or not. Here's a little recap: 7 things that I learned running my first ultramarathon. Number 1, training your mind is as important as training your body. Number 2, practice and consistency in your training really pays off. Number 3, perseverance and taking each moment of now as they come can help you power through. The Power of Now is extremely important. I love that book, cannot recommend it enough. And that is honestly what my mantra for getting through the race was just, you can get through this moment of now. 4, hydration is key. Staying ahead of it can make the difference between crossing the finish line or not. 5, mental toughness and taking the time to develop this through practice and discipline is crucial to success. Building up just that mental toughness and armor can really help us face some of these challenges in life. Number 6, managing emotions and embracing the power of now. Acknowledge and release what's coming is going, okay? Managing those emotions. The power of now, realizing like this is all we ever have. Processing those emotions as they come up, deeply feeling into it and letting it go. That's the best way to move forward in a positive direction. Number 7, the ups and downs. If you keep pushing, you will break through a plateau and you will ultimately come out stronger in the end. Well, that concludes my thoughts about my first ultra. So I hope that if you're listening to this, you're inspired to maybe tackle that challenge that you've been waiting on and thinking like, I'm not ready, it's not the time for me. The time is always just right. You're never gonna be ready. You just have to do it.